to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And we're hiding Beth with my Squishmallow collection.
I love that
I'm
Santa
hiding behind
one.
this Squishmallow army.
That Santa one is so cute.
So this is little Gouda, who is a grilled cheese. And this is my first Squishmallow, who is, I took the tag off, but it's Gideon, who's guacamole. And then this is my newest acquisition, who is Nick. Isn't he cute? I almost bought him one day and I felt guilty for spending the money, and then the next time I went back to the store, he was on sale. This is my childish addiction that I love so much. But we're gonna move Nick and little Gouda so that you can see Beth, and we'll leave Gideon there. Gideon can stay. Now I want guacamole. Oh, you guys gotta move. You're too fat. You're too big.
You can put them over there.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
Well, Happy New Year. It is the first weekend in 2025. Can you believe that?
Just barely.
Just barely. So we hope that you've had a great New Year's celebration, and that you've got all your projects lined up for the year, and that you've got them out, and happy stitching, whatever you are stitching. So I'm going to go first. Last week I was working on this tam for Hannah, and I finished it and blocked it, and I sent her a picture, and she loved it. So this hat is like they call them tams or berets, so you can wear it, down on your forehead like that, and to the side, or you could pull it down further. So I just think it's so cute, and her hair, I think, and this is her color she picked out for her little sweater.
It also suits her vibe.
Yeah. So this is the beret that I finished. I'm like,
I was telling Naomi I was just watching a show like last night, that one of the characters was wearing something similar to that.
Yeah. So I'm glad I finished this, and I sent her a photo, and she was very happy and she loved it. So I got to mail it out. But I don't know if I mentioned last week that I sent her, oh, maybe I didn't. But last week I sent her box out without this, because I was like, I can't. If I try to say, I'll send the box as soon as I'm done, something bad would happen. So I sent the box, and then I finished this. So now I've got to send another box. But this came out very pretty. This is a red, it's a yarn by the company called Color Burst. And it's just a machine washable wool, super washable, in this bright, I think it's called Christmas red color. So there's that. And I did work on the cross stitch from Hop One Hollow a little bit. I stalled out a tiny bit. I just started the little bird. I finished all the branches, and I started the bird down here. And then I got squirrel distracted. But I'm still working on that. And the reason I got distracted is that I saw a picture of a temperature snake, and I sent them a screenshot, and I was like, I want to do this. And so then I started looking, and I saw some like free versions that I didn't really like. I didn't think they looked good, and you couldn't you couldn't get the PDF without downloading their PDF reader. Have you ever been to those kind of websites?
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope. So then I searched on Ravelry, and Ravelry, if you are a knitter or crocheter, you know that it's a website that sort of is it's like a gathering place for yarn craft, and it's they have a pattern library. You can just search. You can search the weight of yarn you have, and you want to make a scarf, and you wanted to, have 2 colors. You can search all that in the filters, and you can do crochet. So anyway, I went on there and searched for temperature snake, and this is the one I found.
He's
And
cute.
The pattern was very inexpensive, and it's extremely detailed. I really like her. Her name is June Gilbank, and she runs a website called Planet June, and she's all crochet. She does origami and just tons of tips, and she's really great. And I guess they did this as a stitch-along in 23, I think. And it comes free with the PDF. You get a workbook, and so this workbook talks to you about the techniques and how to figure out your thing, and like what kind of yarn set you want to use, whether you want to do like a red to blue or like hot to cold, or if you want to do a rainbow, or if you want to do like, here's thermal imaging, which I thought was pretty cool, and all different kinds of techniques, and even the website to go to. And then once you go to your website, it tells you how to for weather, it tells you how to figure out your highs and lows, and then your range, color range. So what I decided to do, and here's a photo, I'll bring it up to show you guys. Here's a photo of, so I thought I want to make one for Boston, for Hannah, and I want to make one for here, for me. And I thought, what if I overlapped those, instead of doing separate 10 color schematics for each one, what if I overlapped them? So Arizona would get the super hot and Boston would get the super cold, and in the middle we'd have similar colors. So I was like, now how do I afford 50,000 things of yarn? And I thought, okay, I'll use my very wonderful gift card at Tempe Yarn and Fiber. So I went on their website, but even there, like, you have to buy a whole ball of yarn, which probably you don't need a whole ball. And even that, so I looked at all the temperatures between, and those middle ones kind of overlap. So I thought instead of 10 and 10, I would do 14, and that would cover those extremes.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started pricing out 14 balls of yarn anywhere is like
$1 bazillion.
$1 bazillion. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna check out Joann's. And I went on Joann's website, and I thought, okay, they do have some. Knew they were having some sales. Still, it was gonna be a lot of money. And then I walked to an end cap, and they had this. Now, I don't really usually like acrylic yarn, and I don't, so I don't usually buy it. But this was a craft kit by Red Heart, and they had 2 different kinds. You can see the color scheme here in the picture. They don't really have names for them. And then this one is more of a rainbow color. And these each contain 12 skeins. And so I got 24 skeins, they're mini skeins.
Yeah, are they those little tiny?
Yeah, they're, let me grab one.
And your fancy
They're like
Christmas bag.
this size.
Oh.
So there were 12 of these, and each one of these is 90 yards. So I thought, okay, that's probably going to do it. And the other great thing about it is that if for some reason I use up one of these, Red Heart has no dye lot, so I can go and find the exact number and refill during the year. If like the dark red gets used up in Arizona. So so out of the 24 skeins, and I made Mark help me, here's the color scheme that I decided on. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. But the Arizona goes red through this dark blue, and Boston goes this medium pink to purple, because you turn purple in the really bad cold. So I thought of that. And then the head and tail are going to be in this gray, and then I'm going to do monthly bands in black. So I think it'll be cool because we will share these metal colors. And when I looked at the and so this also gives you these great worksheets. Whoop, these great worksheets to, and it gives you a whole formula to figure out your range. And you can do it very simply, or you can like figure it out. And so I, with a little bit more math, and I did that. Let's see, this one is Boston, and Hannah decided the name of her snake, because it says here, give your snake a name. So I said, what's your snake name? She said, Bill. And this one is mine, and because Mark and I decided that the red was going to be the 115 plus, but the orange was going to be 107 to 114, I thought it's going to be an orange snake. So, and the actual color of that orange is called pumpkin. So I named my snake Pumpkin, Punkin, so Pumpkin. And so I have our ranges, and they do overlap with pretty similar, like her color, let's see, her hottest 94 plus is medium pink, and my medium pink is 83 to 90. So it's very similar in temperature range. So I think it'll be interesting. So now I have.
And what's really nice is that it's not devoting a whole lot of time to it each day, each week, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's really nice about temperature charts, other than when you make the turtle all wrong and you have to redo it.
It should only be one. But so this in this pattern, so cute. You have a lot of options. You can make a large one or a small one, and that's just determined by the stitches around the snake. And then you can make a daily one, which is super long. So if you make a large daily one, it's over 7 feet. You can make an every other day one, or you can make a twice a week one. So, and those would just be shorter, right? And so it's just depending, like you can decide how involved you want to be in it, or, like if you just want to do every other day, it really cuts down. So I decided to do large every day, because why not? And so last night I stayed up way too late making little snake heads. So I have some eyes. So I have these green eyes that are kind of what I used, like they're like frog eyes. So I got these, and I forced myself to make the heads. And I have a red little pin here in this one. So this is my Arizona one, and I have a blue pin here. So this was my Boston one, so I won't get them mixed up at the beginning. So you start with the heads, and you stuff as you go. So I took my brother's giant bag.
So is this like one day each day? One stripe?
One stripe a day.
Each day? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so anyway, I took my brother's giant bag and filled it full of all the skeins of yarn and some stuffing and a stuffing tool. So I've got everything in here for the year.
Hey.
And I'm like, thanks, Tim. Let's see, there's a picture of one with, and she has a really cool striping technique that I've never seen anywhere else, and it works really well. See, here's the comparison between the small and the large. And I think the big one is a daily, and the little one is an every other day, and a small. So you can really vary the size of your snakes. And
you could always use it as a draft block.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys remember I used to sew stuffed animals, and I made a snake that would go at the door?
Yeah.
I used that when I was
Mark's-
living in Texas, because,
Mark's mom made knitted snakes
yeah.
just out of scrap yarn. So yeah, and but see this one has monthly bands. See, that's what I want to do. This one here has bands that you for each month. Anyway, I highly recommend this pattern, and you are only a few days in, so you could totally catch up. Because once you get the head made, it's just one round a day, and her striping technique keeps there from being any kind of seam or jog with the colors, and I really like it, so I'm going to use it. So
you have
so
4 days to catch up on, or whatever?
3. Well, 3 because
Yeah.
this day doesn't have its high temperature.
Yeah.
But I found out that I cannot get historical data on Chandler itself, because I decided to make it from Chandler's perspective. And if I click on the calendar for Chandler, it takes me to Mesa Gateway. So I thought, all right, I'll do Mesa Gateway instead of Phoenix Sky Harbor, because out here in the East Valley,
It's
it seems
different.
it's always colder, a little bit different.
Yeah, it's different.
So,
That's how wide Phoenix is.
yeah, and then in Boston, the historical data is from Logan,
Yeah.
which is fine. So, so now I gotta watch 2 cities. But what's nice is it gives you in this worksheet, it gives you for every single month. It gives you a chart, and then you fill out the color code, so you can do it a week at a time, or if you need to, or whatever. So that's my.
Oh yeah, so you could like every Friday do.
I could
however
do,
many
yeah.
days
Where
a
I
week, or-
where I look at my temperatures, you can look at the past 2 weeks. So you can go there once a week or every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Have you seen
all-
underground weather? That's what these guys recommend.
No, I don't remember what.
Yeah, but
What it
it's
is.
nice because you can click on calendar. You can see the whole month. You can see 2 years ago. That's how it said to get the data for the range. Is you looked at like the hottest months and the coldest months
I'll be right back.
of 2 separate years.
Yeah.
So you like I did December, January, February of both from like 24 and 23, and then the December's prior, and then I did June, July, August in both 24 and 23 to get like the extreme temperatures. And so that's how I figured it out. I didn't do an average or ask anybody about the average temperatures. I did, like, they want to know like what was the highest that it had been in those 2 years samples of those 3 hottest months. So that's how I did it. And yeah, so that
sounds fun.
is everything I'm doing. Oh, I did work actually extensively on this sweater. Oh, I have one other thing to report. I forgot my laptop. I mean my iPad. That's okay. I did work on this sweater for Hannah. I'm really going gangbusters trying to get those 12 inches.
Beautiful.
Isn't it gorgeous? I need 12 inches here. I think I'm at like 10, and I have this much yarn left. So I was really going gangbusters on it before I discovered the snakes. So, but this shouldn't be long, and then I'll do the sleeves and the neckline and be done. So.
Well, that's the thing with temperature charts, is that your biggest outlay of time is getting started,
Yeah.
and then it's just picking a day when you're going to concentrate on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the other thing I had to report is that right before my aunt left, I was like, okay, seriously, you want me to make you a sweater? And she's like, yes. And then I was like, well, what kind do you want? And I was like, please don't say cardigan. Please don't say cardigan. I'm like, do you want a pullover? And she's like, I want one like Eli's with a zipper. I'm like, no. So then we were talking, because I know that she likes a pullover, but she goes, but I don't want it up around my neck. So we were looking at a U-neck like I made for Jordan. Like I can do that. But I noticed that really what she likes is cardigans, like to be able to take it off, take it on without having to fuss with pulling it over your head and all that. So then I showed her that pattern that I have started for myself, which I've stalled out on, called 3 triangles and 2, no, I always say it wrong. 3 rectangles, 2 triangles is the name of the the sweater, and you knit 3 pieces. You knit a big rectangle for the back, 2 rectangles for the front, and then they're not really triangles, they're more like trapezoids, and you do them for the sleeves. And then you sew it all together. And it doesn't have any closure. You can pin it shut. It's just a cardigan. And I showed her photos of it, and she was like, ooh, I like that. So, so I'm going to make that for her in bulky yarn. I convinced her that, and the pattern is in bulky yarn. I'm like, please, let's do bulky yarn so it goes fast. And my thoughts are to have it done by her birthday in March. So I am going to use your gift card, Eve. I'm going to go, because I realized one of the reasons I stalled out in the making of mine is that you have to make the very large back piece first, and then you make the front panels, but you really have to keep track of rows, which means I have to be sitting near a row counter, and I'm like, I was trying to count. Anyway, I was like stalled out on it, so I thought what I need to do with Mary Lou's is buy a super long knitting needle cord and make all 3 pieces at the same time, and have it so that I don't have to count rows, and I can make it exactly the right length, and I know that all 3 pieces are the right length, and then I can also make both sleeves at the same time, which will go so fast, so much faster than having to make sure I'm counting the rows and keeping track and blah, 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 blah. And so if I have a long circular needle, which I don't have anything that long right now, so if I have a long circular needle, I can make all 3 pieces at once, and then sew them together. And I thought, could I just not sew them together? Could I just knit them? But knit them as a wrap around. But then that I'd have to. Anyway, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I need to order that yarn, and then get that going. But anyway, that's all I have to report on. Here's a picture of that sweater, because I don't have my iPad with you to show you. It's by Stacey Perry, Very Pink Knits. Really good. It's a good pattern. So that's it. I'm done. Sorry, I talked so much.
Okay, so I'm going second. Right now, I am working on one of my planned patterns to concentrate on, cute boots, X's and O's, and it's designed by Joe Gaddenby. And I have really gotten a lot done. I should have had more shoes done, but I said, I'm going to get a lot of that back stitching done instead. So now you can see his little face, and because
that's cute.
Yeah, now he has, because sometimes you just need to get some of that back stitching in so that you feel like you've done something. Because I could see his face before, but when you back stitch, you put in that detail, and it's really nice. Okay, so that's what I'm working on, sitting here making messes, because I don't know if you saw me pulling stuff out. Also, on this pattern, right here, where the boot, this boot right here, okay? I'm like, I don't think I want to do that. So this has a lot of fractional stitches in it. And the dark red of the inside of the boot, okay, the inside of the boot, the dark red of the inside of the boot comes pretty darn close to the bird. And I'm supposed to take a different color of red and stitch half stitches, quarter stitches, I don't know, all the way inside, in between the bird and the boot. And then back stitch in there too. I'm like, those are going to be really stuffed stitches. And I could see why they want you to do it, to get it to look like it's going around. but it's so close. I mean, there is a gap there. Like, I was like, did I count wrong? Why does it not meet the bird? Oh, I'm supposed to stick a whole row of stitches in there. I don't know where they're going to fit. Yeah, that's what I get for picking a pattern so intricate. Okay, and then, very excitingly, I have a finish.
You did the turtles are done.
Yeah,
No more consternation.
Stitch Your Mommy's temperature turtles. I even cut the fabric. There we go. And I know it looks like there's hardly any fabric on the sides, but it is the same on both sides, and I don't need a lot, so I'm good.
Let me see. Wow.
And I saw a lot of news articles that overall, Phoenix, especially in the winter, has been a lot warmer than normal. And yeah, I know, because I only have 2 cold days this month, or 3, and a couple of them this month, you know. So I think it's fun that I chose to do a temperature chart when we're having record this or record that. And see, you don't know until it happens. And then you go back and go, what year was that? And, you know, and you can remember. So I did start.
Have you compared it finished to the one you did last year? I mean, in 24? I mean, in 23?
I did in the summer, but no, not really, because it's not using the same color, so it's kind
No,
of
I
hard.
know, but I mean, just like a vibe. Just curious.
Maybe, I don't know. I did, like I said, I did during the summer. So this is my own chart, Under the Sea temperature chart, and thank you for all of you guys that are
Yay.
doing it with me. I have 3 little fish. Now, I knew when I was designing this that the fish are really tiny, okay? And for 2 reasons. I did not want the chart to be a gazillion miles long, you know, because I knew I wanted to put other sea things in there. Also, I did not want people to have to spend a lot of time stitching each fish, but I have to say that I do a loop start, you know, go this way and then come this way. And after going this way, it looked like if I did it without doing the other side, it would look like fish bones.
Let me see your fishes.
And so I'm going to try to get some of the other part of the pattern, for instance, the octopus or the other part of the waves, done each week. It may not be a lot,
Cute.
but I'm going to try to do
that's nice
that.
and small for a daily thing. And then you have time to do the other.
As I say, because you're going to have to make 365 of those little fish.
Right.
Plus whatever, you know.
Plus the other things, and I think
That's
without the
nice.
other things, it doesn't look very oceany. So, I was having a lot of fun. I almost left it like little fish bones when I sat down.
You don't like to eat fish.
I hate fish. I like to look at fish. I do not like to eat them. This was one of my WIP-GO calls for December plant pots, which I don't know if I showed it. I have it here. And this part in here is not the correct amount of stitches because this ear, so there is some kind of disconnect in here. You see one ear isn't pointy, and I remember talking to Beth about it. Do you care if one ear isn't pointy? She said, well, I don't care, because I was making it for her, so of course I'm taking plenty of time. I'm still waiting for a frog from her.
I know.
So, yeah, it's like,
You could just be one of those ear-tipped cats.
got spayed. So sorry. So I did some kind of miscounting in here, and I'm like, did I tell you guys last week? Maybe I did. And I just kind of said, meh. I'm going to be working on it again this year, and I have to decide if I want to frog that whole thing or just, fix it. Probably I'm going to just adjust the pattern. Because if you weren't looking at the pattern and the thing, would you know it was wrong? No. So I might just leave it. I did do a lot of work this week on I Hear the Bells. Did I say the last one was by Darlene and Whimsy? It's by Darlene and Whimsy. This is my hands-on design, and I'm doing the drum. Down here is a picture. And I started BE, and this is almost all the way, but this is all the top part of brown, and it just needs branches. So I got a lot of work done. I put the bottom part of a house, I got a lot of stuff done on this one. But then I was working on it on New Year's Eve, and I said, I don't want to work on this anymore. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, but it's 32 count, and I wanted to work on something that was more Ada-ish, because, it was pretty late on New Year's Eve. And all I wanted to do was start my new starts. Oh, I know I showed you that I was almost done with Gingerbread House Tiny Modernist. And I was all excited because I was like, oh, and once I finish this, I can put it together. And no, I can't. I don't have any of my stuff, and I want to go re-buy stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, I finished the last side. So now I have all 4 pieces. All I need is a mat, a rotary cutter, some kind of stiff board for putting it on, felt, which, that costs a few cents, and I'll be ready to finish it. Except I don't want to buy a new rotary cutter. And I don't want
a rotary cutter and a mat at my house.
But do you have one that cuts mats? Because I don't want to ruin your blade.
It cuts what?
Like mat board.
Oh.
I have one for mat board, and I have one for fabric. Because it ruins the blade.
I have several, so you can ruin one of mine.
Yay! Now all I need is mat board. That's easy to find. Okay, so I'm sitting there New Year's Eve wanting desperately to start my new start. And I said, I cannot start that until after midnight. Because then it won't be 25 and 25, it'll be 24 and 25. So
Unless you did another new start.
I mine anyway. So I was looking at what was nearby, and this is in the same bag as the gingerbread house. This is Wolf, Pigeon Coop Designs, which every time Helen D says it, I hear pigeon poop. And the reason is, the first time she said it, I'm like, what is she saying? Is she saying pigeon poop? And I know it's pigeon coop now, and it's not her pronunciation, it's just the way I heard it. And so every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, pigeon poop designs. I'm sorry, pigeon coop. I know that's not the name, but that's how I think of it. So I said, I'll take it out and work on that. So it's very little. And I got more invisible purple put in. And then, cute boots is one of the ones I was supposed to concentrate on in 25, in the month of, what is this month?
January.
In the month of January. And I told myself each month, my new start that gets called, I will work on it one day, and then I will put it away. This was one of the ones it was called. It's by Southwest Decoratives. This is Yay, Rugs of the Southwest. Beth is also working on this.
It's one of my ones put away in storage.
Well, I had this handy dandy pin to tell me this was the Arizona snake, but I started, but it's the blue one. I mean, this is the Boston snake, so I just have to change the pins because this is Arizona.
The grand plan has already gone astray.
When I was talking about my temperature charts, I was noticing that they were like, we already have a record high in January. On January 2nd, we had a record high of 80 was the official temperature here in Phoenix. The last time was in like 1989 and it was 79. I was like...
Well, that's why Mesa Gateway said it was 73.
Well, it was probably cooler over there.
Yeah.
But the official temperature was 80 degrees, and so we had a record high already. Anyway, I had so much fun working on this. I love the colors. Honestly, to be truthful, I really like the style and colors and patterns of a lot of the Native American designs that they do. At the fair in Albuquerque, in the Mexico State Fair, they have Indian Village, that's what it's called. And you can go in there and they have the Native American dancers in there, in their full regalia, and there's a building toward the back where you can go in and watch them doing sand painting. It's absolutely fantastic. Tim said that they're talking about trying to move the state fair somewhere else. I'm like, why? Anyway, so when we went to the stitching store in Albuquerque that year, and I saw these, I was just like, yeah, I'll have to have them. So I bought 3 different patterns, which I will eventually start during the year. But I just was having so much fun working on this. I was like, I don't want to put it down. I don't care if the day is over. And I didn't get, tons and tons and tons of work done on it. But this is the little person in the middle. And I wanted to keep working on it. I had to force myself to put it away. Because I'm trying to, with the other stuff, get rid of some of my whips, not just add to them. Anyway, that's me.
Oh, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. Just caught me in the middle of a stitch here.
I got you.
Okay, so I finished my December WIP-GO and I just made a big old knot. So I finished my December WIP-GO on the 31st. I was just doing 7 days of that particular pattern. And that was the Cottage Garden Samplings Year in the Woods Raccoon, which is the number, whatever, 4. And that was this one. It'll come up again in this year, but so I worked on his body, part of his tail, just the beginnings of his tail, and it's a little hard to see from this distance, but this gray line that delineates part of his little hip, I guess. Because I started to go down to do the tail, and I was going to do this light gray is all the outside around, all the way around the tail, but there's part of it that is the little pattern. There's the sort of darker color and there's the gray color alternating down the tail. And I then I was trying to decide whether I wanted to do like just the outline of the tail and then go back in and do that pattern, but as long as I was there, I went ahead and did it. So actually, let me move this needle minder out of the way here. So yeah, so I just did, I started on the outside of the tail down here. And I remembered, oh yeah, I was going to do this as I went along, so I went back and did part of that. So, and then that led me to go up and do the inside of the hip. So I actually went, because I was going to stop like at midnight and do my, my New Year, New Start, whatever. But then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to finish this thread and finish, this motif. So I just went ahead and finished. So technically, I bled over into 2025. But shh,
Don't tell the cross stitch.
don't tell us the cross stitch, please.
And
So one of my new starts, my 25 and 25 new starts, was this Teresa Kogut, Our Favorite Elf. It was a little freebie for the Jingle Ball, and I had this one and the Dust of Snow patterns from the Jingle Ball that were new starts, but the Dust of Snow one I went looking through all my fabrics and I have to, dye a piece of fabric for that because I didn't have anything the right color, the color that I wanted. But I was looking at like all the different, I was trying to decide the fabrics that I had and the size of the fabrics and the count and all that kind of stuff. And I had written down the stitch count and all that, so I could use my yarn tree cross stitch calculator thing. And so finally I decided on this one. This is a 25 count Lugana that I got at Hobby Lobby once upon a time. And so like I was looking at primarily like, what size of fabric would I need if it was 28 or 32. And then I came across this I had a stash of this 25 count Lugana. I had a couple of them in this blue color and a couple of them in I think it's called Pearl, but it's basically an off-white color. And I decided I wanted to use it. So I did a little floss toss on there, and I think the colors will look fine on here. It's a little bit darker than that you might go, for a blue. It certainly was darker than like what I would use for Dust of Snow, but it's not big enough anyway. It's a small cut. So, but it was just right for this Our Favorite Elf. So this is just his hat, the top of his hat, not any of the little white bolly or anything like that. So I just did that, and I just, to to finish it. There's a little gap right here because there's a darker red where it folds over, but I just did the one color. So if I have time, I may come back to it and because I almost started on the white because there's white like his eyebrows and then his beard, but I figured this is a good stopping point. So I stopped there and went to one of my WIP-GO calls, which is, I think this is number 11. But I had said I would finish this, and I had it out of the hoop so I could show it, but I think you can see it well enough. So I did finish the border all along the outside, and I thought, oh, I could finish this border, no problem. So I was almost done, and I realized, yeah, I had to go all the way around again because when I was doing it, there's this little gap in the black, right? And when I started it, I left out there's another line of black on the outside of the gap, kind of, and and so I had started like over here somewhere and gone down around, and as I got up here, I was like, oh yeah, I have to go around again. So I went around to do the outside edge, and these little gaps are actually white stitches, so I had to go back and do the white stitches. So I had to go around it like 3 times. But I did finish the border, and so now there's a ton of backstitch, and there's a whole bunch of French knots. I did a few of them on this guy here because I had the white, leftover thread from doing the border. And so I thought, oh, I could do some of the French knots, and then I realized, yeah, there's like backstitching that goes like up to it, and so I went ahead and used the thread that I had, and I did colonial knots, not French knots, which is basically the same, but whatever. And then
You have something against the French?
yeah, and no French.
I like their knots. I like their food, not their knots.
There's something about, I guess, because when I've tried to do French knots, I'm always like very inconsistent. So like, when you use them for the eyeballs or something, it looks all googly eyed because I'll have one giant one and one little teeny one or something like that. And with the colonial knots, I'm able to be a little more consistent with that. But anyway, so I'm working on, there's a bazillion tons of backstitching in all of these owls, and then there's French knots in all of their eyes, and like this orange owl down here has a whole bunch of French knots kind of surrounding the head, and then there's a whole bunch on the tummy, and then this little guy here has a bunch of black French knots on his tummy. But then also this one here, you can really see the little claws, the little talons holding onto this branch, and I was looking at them, and with the pattern, they're like segmented, and all the segments have backstitching, and so it's like three toes on each foot, and they're segmented every 2, I guess, like in blocks of 4 or something. But it's like, oh my god, it's gonna be like a whole skein of thread just to do his claws. But anyway, so
Yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, that's really cute. I think it'll be good. And you look at the pattern on the picture and you're like, yeah. And then you get the pattern and you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a dimensions kit. I think Jennifer Nielsen for dimensions, yeah.
But it's so cute, come on.
Yeah, it's really cute though. Yeah, so this is, I made sure that the picture I'll show up close up because you can't really see here. But yeah, so so there's like backstitching all over this. And, but my goal for this is to finish it. So I am determined. So far I worked on it on New Year's Day I started. So, I figure if I work on it today and tomorrow, I may be able to finish it by Sunday. So anyway, that's all I've worked on. Oh, except that I had, when I was starting my new starts, I had I talked about last week that I bought a whole bunch of threads for my new starts, for the Dust of Snow start and my favorite elf. So I wouldn't have to go searching all my projects and, randomly looking for the threads. I thought, I've got them right here. I just, But then I have a little ring with a whole bunch of empty bobbins, and I had them in the bag where I had my Jingle Ball classes starts, right? So I just thrown this thing in there because I knew I was, mostly I was, had the threads, whatever, but I think I bought one or two. So I had like Lascane, and I was going to put them all in the bobbins. And so I think I did a couple of them, but then I had this ring of bobbins, and it was in that bag with the 2 class projects. And at some point, I took that little ring of bobbins out, and now I can't find it. So I was looking in all my projects and my bags and everywhere I could think of, like, where would I have put it? Would I have put it here? Would I have put it there? And the only thing I could think of is that maybe I had it on my nightstand, and maybe the cats knocked it into the black hole of Calcutta, or I don't know what. So I don't know where it is. So I have in all these new skeins that I bought last week. I just have them for this our favorite elf thing. I just cut a length off and I have those floss drops that you bought at Hobby Lobby, the one time that you hated. And so I just thought, well, I could at least put the one length of thread on there, So yeah, and I bobbinate with pride. I have no problem with using the bobbin, but I don't know where my bobbins are now. And I guess I could go buy some more. Only it's I my brain's it has to be within the confines of this house, in my room somewhere, because and so it's I keep looking and is it in this bag? Is it in that bag? Is it in this project bag? Is it in and I have not been able, it's did I put it in this drawer? Did I put, and I've not been able to put my hands on it, so. And I feel like if I want to have, I came across some bobbins that were stuck in a project bag that I had not used after all, because I think I found the threads or whatever for I don't know, some other project that I had. So well, there's 3. I could use these 3, and
probably have a whole package at my house.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where they are. Yeah. Oh, look, here's some that magically appeared.
No whine about bobbins. Oh my gosh.
But it just bugs me that it's I know I have them. I just don't know where they are. Yeah. They just went with zoop. It's not like I was traveling across the country with them or something like that. That I would have lost them somewhere. Yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, that's me.
I already have to put pink on this stupid thing because it was 77 degrees on the 3rd.
Yeah.
It's going to be red. Look, here's my little Arizona sneak.
Yeah.
So that's me.
All right. Well, I guess it's time for question of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, we asked, do you do resolutions? And if you do, what's your number one? And everyone across the board said, no resolutions.
That's what I was going to say. I don't do resolutions.
I do thoughts, but I don't, my young friend at work, she's very positive. She's very, all about the personal development. And she's like, oh yeah, I do them every year. I'm like, she writes them down, and I'm like, no, I can't. There's things I think about for the new year, what do I want to accomplish? What do I want to
When I was younger, I used to get sucked into that.
Yeah.
But now I'm the new year's coming up, and I'm what do I want to do this year? I want to do 25 and 25. That's the really nice thing about WIP-GO and writing it out is that it's not a New Year's resolution, because if I didn't do it, I wouldn't cry. She would, but I wouldn't. What do I want to do? I want to lose 25 pounds. You can't make yourself lose 25 pounds. You can aim for it.
You can.
You can. You can.
Well, you know, it's just
you can eat, live better, eat better. You know.
It's about whether or not you. I think there's so much pressure put on them, and I think it's good to make decisions. But I think you should make decisions at any time of year, and you can. And case in point, like I guess a year ago, late January, I literally did a 180 in my life. It had nothing to do with the new year or anything. It was like, you have a diagnosis. It's your diagnosis that I've had for years. It got worse. I have to make decisions. And it just made them. So I realized that the calendar is irrelevant. Like Mark was joking on New Year's Day, he's like, this looks just like the old year. It looks like the same. This year looks the same. Yeah, you know. So and it's funny, but it's actually true. And so
well,
I guess
all
that's
the
why I don't-
revelry over the new year makes it seem like something is going to be different.
Well, I guess it's the same as celebrating your birthday. You know, like Mark's, he likes that Strange Planet cartoon, and for the new year it was like, we didn't die for another year. Like, that's really kind of true, right? Like,
I like the Peanuts one that says, the world's not going to end today because it's already tomorrow in Australia.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But anyway, so that was our question last week, and I don't think we discussed the question for this week.
No, we didn't.
No.
Okay, here's question of the week. I'm going to put it on you. What is something you would like to know about us?
Yes.
Ask in the comments. Any questions you have, Q&A, and we'll answer them next week. If you have any curiosity about us, our backgrounds, our crafting, whatever. I mean, we're not going to answer something crazy personal, but, you know, what do you want to know about us? What are you curious about? So that's our question of the week this week. So how did the week go for everyone? It's been a crazy week.
I had fun at Rachel's house.
Yeah, it was nice. Nice.
Yeah.
We had a brunch on New Year's Day. Oh, Eli and I went to the symphony concert on New Year's Eve, and that was a lot of fun. It was Disco Inferno, and I was sitting with my son and my coworker and her boyfriend, all who could be my children. I mean, one of them is my children. The other two could be my children. And they knew a lot of the music, but I was like reliving my childhood. They played The Hustle. It was so good. It was so good. And I was like, that is like, I hated that song actually growing up. I didn't really like it, but it's part of the fabric, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like,
the soundtrack of your childhood.
Yeah, and it reminded me of Valley Pool, because it seemed like it was always playing when we were swimming at Valley Pool. And
so when I was young, I did not like Santana music.
But now,
just didn't. Then I went and heard that cover band that my brother's in, Mirage in Albuquerque, and I was like, that's not what I remember. It's pretty cool. And then I saw a guy on YouTube, first reaction to some Santana song, I don't remember which one. And I was like, watching the actual artist play, right? And the way he just gets into what he's doing, I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And he said something about, you know, pay attention to him, go to his site, and, you know, and I was like, he's still alive? So I had to look it up. And I found out that on his tour this year, he's going to be at Wild Horse Pass in February.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yep.
the tickets are only $67. And he's playing in Albuquerque at one of the casinos there before that. Yeah.
There's a lot of songs from the 70s that I remember disliking as a child, but now I hear them and I feel nostalgic. Like I always say to Beth, it doesn't have to be good, it has to be nostalgia. But it was a lot of fun. But the guy who was doing the MC, like the hosting of the concert, was like, you know, I realized all these songs are 50 years old, And I was like, shut up. Shut up. But it was great, and everyone was dancing, and we were up in a loge, and we were like all up there dancing, and one of the singers pointed at us, and so it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was also a lot of work. But then, yeah, nice brunch at Rachel's house. That was really nice and relaxing. And then we took our tree down. Our tree about a week before, maybe in the week before Christmas, stopped drinking water. Had plenty of water, stopped drinking water. And I remember when we bought the tree, they gave us a paper that said something about that if it did that, you could put hot water in the bowl to like re-stimulate it. And I thought about it, but then I was so busy, and then I was like, but how do I do that if there's water in there? I have to take the cold water out and put the hot. So my brain didn't latch on. But anyway, so when we took the tree down, like even on Christmas Day, if you touched it, it would like and I'm like, it's gonna wind up like Luther Crank's tree that he buys. When he buys it and then he gets home and there's no needles left. It was piles and piles of needles. It was very funny.
And they don't sweep up like regular things.
Yes, they do. I don't know what everybody complains about needles.
They slide around.
No, they don't. It's called use a broom and a vacuum cleaner, for heaven's sake. Anyway, I don't have a problem with needles, even when they're like that. I actually kind of like the giant piles. I don't know, because they do sweep up very easily. I don't know what you're talking about. And I don't mind them one bit. So I will always have a real tree. But anyway, so then we spent most of New Year's Day, the rest of New Year's Day, putting away Christmas, except all my Santas are still out, and I got very I can't.
That's why you have that sent out.
Yeah. Today, no, that's I was like, I don't think I want to put him away, but today I have to put all my Santas away.
So that giant snowman that I bought, I don't know, 50 years ago.
The stuffed one?
The big giant snowman. I don't even know where I bought it. That's how long ago I got it. It's half my size, and it's very squishy, and I love holding it. I was like, how am I going to put that away? But I put it away every year. And you know why I put it away every year? Because I want it to be around.
Yeah.
Every year. I just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I hung a Jingle Bell necklace on it once, and so it stayed there. But yeah, and I was very sad that none of our Christmas stuff, was available this year. But that's not what Christmas is about.
Yeah.
And she had a tree.
Yeah. So I hope y'all are having fun putting all your stuff away.
You said your cats didn't.
Our cats are good cats. My brother, I texted my brother on Christmas. Well, he's also your brother, but I texted him on New Year's Day, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Happy Do Nothing Day," and I said, "Yeah." So we have to take our tree down. He said, "I thought that's what cats are for." Not mine. All right, 3 days down on the Arizona snake. That used to be the.
See, and that's what's snake. Nice. That's how it didn't take you that long. So yeah.
But
my little fish. It took me longer to pick out the threads, I think, than to stitch the fish.
Yeah.
So I had them all in the same place, but you got to find the right one with the right temperature. So, yeah.
And I labeled all the yarns according to the chart here. So, I was so glad to find those red hearts, even though True confessions, I actually kind of hate red heart yarn, and it hurts when I when I'm crocheting it because it doesn't slide and it's very sticky. But I think it'll be good for this
I was gonna say,
project.
especially if you're using like for a doorstop or whatever, you don't want fancy, expensive yarn.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and
So-
also it minimizes the risk of Hobbs eating this.
Mm-hmm. Because it's not real wool.
Because it's not real wool. He'll bite it. He'll probably bite and kick it if it's out because it's knitted, because he likes knitted things. But he won't hunt it. The little wool hunter. But yeah. So, what are your plans for this week? You got any plans? I'm so excited. There's no concerts this week.
You know what I'm excited about? The calendar that has nothing on it.
Yeah, as I say, this week,
That's why I got so much done.
Yeah.
the only thing I have going on this coming week is on Saturday, the symphony concert.
Yeah.
But like, I was like looking at it, because our orchestra rehearsals don't start till next week. Because next week I have like a doctor's appointment, I have orchestra, I have this, you
Yeah.
know. But so, yeah, so for this week, I'm like, oh, look, there's nothing there.
I know, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Kind of nice. Well, we hope you have had plenty of time to do your stitching today with us.
Yes.
And thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to see you back next week.
Yeah.
Bye. Happy